시작. 자, 나 전방 소음 빌게. 좋았어. 늦네. 오케이. 이렇게 볼게. 고마워.
Welcome back to another stream. Now we're gonna go over some Johnny Somali plus Vitaly, who has now decided to get himself in trouble in the Philippines. So we're gonna a bunch of videos which I have all in the description. And for those who are watching over the replay, like the stream, subscribe if you like the stuff, and comment your thoughts of Johnny being and okay, Koki, what are you doing?
Legal Mindset here with a premiere. Yes, it's not live. It's not totally a clip. It's something in between. It's a premiere. But this is Legal Mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. And wanted a quick update on the Vitaly Zorovetsky situation and some great news, really awesome news out of the Philippines about the arrest. So we officially have an arrest for Vitaly Zorovetsky. If you don't know about Vitaly, you can go check out my previous video, my previous live stream, or the clip if you want the abbreviated version about him. But essentially, as the Philippine Star says here, he was a nuisance streamer, right? A Russian YouTuber, although he does spend a lot of time living in the U.S. Apparently, he is a Russian citizen. I guess he never got American citizenship. Interesting fact there. Who harassed and disrespected Filipinos while filming at Bonifacio Global City, BGC, as we call it, where his player actually lived for a few months. He was caught by police officers in front of a hotel along Seaside Boulevard in Pasay City on Wednesday, based on a mission order from the Bureau of Immigration, according to C.
Wait, how did I get recommended to you? Thank you, Koki. Thank you.
IDG Director, Major General Nicolas Torre III. So he has been caught and he has been arrested. In fact, we actually go on to have some footage of the interaction on when he was arrested, and I'll keep the audio off here, but you can see the agents here that were arresting him in front of the hotel, and these were obviously related to immigration. Now, this is amazing. One thing I want to give full credit on to the Philippines, and just a huge shout out to law enforcement there for taking quick action. Also for mainstream media news, I was sent many articles, many TV pieces on this. This got out there. Filipinos got this information. Filipinas and Filipinos got this information out there big time. I also want to say a special thank you to all of my friends of the channel, whether you're Filipino, Filipina, expat, whatever, people who love the Philippines or in the Philippines, maybe you're Filipino American, whatever. You guys came up huge on this. You gave me a bunch of information, and clearly people in the Philippines were talking. They were putting stuff together here. And
I will say, don't go to Singapore, I talked about on, if anyone is watching that watched it last night, is Singapore is even worse than is even harder on this stuff than Philippines and other countries.
because of people that were talking about this, we're sharing this information, we're spreading what happened, this guy got stopped right away. This is super atypical. If this was in Asia, especially in Asia, and I think Philippines set a great example for how to stop nuisance streamers, because it got out there, and within a day of the major coverage of this, getting out there on
That was fast. And how long it took.
YouTube, etc. This guy got apprehended, got taken in. That is much quicker than it usually happens in other countries. So if this went down in Japan or Korea, it could take weeks before you're able to bring somebody in. When we saw in the case of Ramzi Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali, it took quite a while to get this guy in. He was messing around for a while before he eventually caught charges. Same with a lot of the folks in Japan. In fact,
I think the difference with that is the difference between this one and Johnny Somali is they already knew about the Johnny Somali thing. Has been happening for months, at this point a year, to where this people were kind of already prepared for another nuisance streamer, to where they knew how to react at this point. And also, Philippines is a bit stricter than Korea and Japan, where Korea and Japan is a bit more nicer on these.
During this recent trip that a lot of the kick streamers, mind you, Vitaly here is a kick streamer as well, where he made most of his revenue from this nuisance streaming, from this harassing streaming. A lot of the similar comrades, his nuisance streamer comrades in Japan, were able to flee the country before they were brought in. And because of that, they got away with no consequences. So Vitaly will now absolutely face consequences here. And there's more footage. I'll play this kind of passively in the background here for you guys.
It was absolute.
But there's more footage of him being brought in, being arrested, being read his rights. There he's being read his rights at the station after being brought in. And I know, by the way, the picture of his mugshot, which will be in the thumbnail here, is looking rather smug. But if the consequences come down hard on him and he's deported and blacklisted from that country, I think that would be a good thing. Now, the one thing I will say, the thing that's kind of up in the air right now with Vitaly is, does he get jail time? Does he actually go to jail? Now, many of these offenses that he is facing, they can involve jail time. He could be put in jail for up to 30 days on some charges, potentially longer. It would be, I think, a shame to just deport him without putting him behind bars for at least a little bit of time. While I think the apprehension is great, I think these streamers need to feel some consequences. And to be honest, if the only thing they hit him with is a small fine, let's say the fine is $5,000 or even $10,000, I think he's going to laugh and pay it, because it's essentially letting him get away without having to do any time behind bars. So I think these countries need to seriously consider that and the way they.
And we know now that he is sitting at 24 years instead of a day or something.
Minister of Justice. Once again, I think the Philippines has done an amazing job in cracking down on this right away. I think they've done a fantastic work, which is to be really modeled across Asia in the quick apprehension of these folks and getting them off the streets, which I think is the most important thing. Stop them from making more revenue, stop them from causing harm, stop them from essentially escalating their behavior, doing more bad things because they've gotten away with it. That's great. That's amazing. But if you allow them to get away with just a fine, other streamers are going to say it's worth it. It's worth it for me to come to your country if I know all that's going to happen is I'm going to get fined and deported. In fact, they may even get more attention, more clout, as the kids say it, and more money, because they're going to get clicks on their content by going there and just being fined and deported. This is also the case in the case of Ramzi Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali, right, where I say, hey, look, a small fine and deporting him, a slap on the wrist, a $500 fine, is not enough for this guy. This guy needs to have a very large, extremely large fine in addition to real jail time for him to feel the consequences. Otherwise, they're just going to shrug it off. And I think Vitaly is no mistake here. And Vitaly, of course, even beyond Ramsey Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali, in terms of publicity, he has a million, 10 million viewer YouTube channel, right? A massive YouTube channel, a big presence on Kick. So he's got funds to pay a fine. So let's see him get some real time. And I think that will be the justice that he deserves. And, all those folks that did an amazing job in spreading information regarding Vitaly, those people that helped really bring him in and get people to lock him up. I think we need to start spreading the news of this person needs jail time. That's the narrative going on in the news. And that's, I think, what we need to push for, because otherwise more people will come to the Philippines and try this sort of stuff. And not just the Philippines, the rest of Asia, right? And it's absolutely shameful. It's absolutely embarrassing. And it's a disrespect to the entire, country, culture, and region, because they're doing it specifically in Asia because they feel they can get away with it. So that's what I've got, my friends, for this one. If you like this, please leave a comment. Please smash the like button on the video, and we'll be back with, of course, more coverage into cracking down on nuisance streamers on the next one.
Find Junior Chicken Sandwiches on the...
All right, so again, I have all these in the description. Okay, so back to Johnny.
This is the story of
Oh gosh, I need it. I need to put an ad blocker on this thing.
Ranger.
Obviously, we've been talking about Johnny Somali and what's been going on with him and his situation. And obviously, he has been there for a while. He's been sitting in Korea for a while, and part of him being in Korea was the strategy.
Yeah, I think at this point it's been a year
Of Korea saying, hey, we're going to keep him there in order to wear him down. So that was their strategy in general, was to say, hey, we're going to wear him down and we're going to end up costing him money because he will pay for it outside of court. He's going to have to pay for food. He's going to have to pay for staying up and legal fees and everything else. We're not going to keep him in jail. And then we saw, I posted this the other week, and let me show you. Here it is. You can see here the post from Hank that said he's running out of money, right? He's running out of money, right? And I've read this one before, but essentially Hank was begging for legal fees and was begging for support, right? Saying he was going to starve. Well, we have even more confirmation of this, both again from Hank and from Johnny, which is hilarious. And what we have here is some messages. This is just today. This is fresh off the press. So you see right here, this is Hank Yu in the Discord. Is there any way for Johnny to get money right now? Hanky Poo is begging for money for Johnny today. He is not, he is just absolutely begging because Johnny is out of money. He is absolutely broke. Even he is stooping to the level of saying, hey, can I stream because Johnny can't? So he literally, let's pull this up real quick. So Hank wants to start streaming on Kick to make money for his boy Johnny. So he's trying to Hank is trying to start streaming to support his boy, his boy. He's just such a good sugar daddy. But speaking of which, and speaking of Johnny being angry about money, we also have Johnny literally confirming that Johnny got zero money from party.com. Right? We got zero money from party.com. Watch this. This is a crazy one. This is a crazy one. So this is Johnny himself who says he's gotten no money from party. Watch this.
I'm back on YouTube now, so I guess
already paid you since you've been streaming on there.
I'm not gonna say anything. How much money has Party paid you?
I'm a YouTuber.
You said Party paid you $0. Has Party paid you $0? Zero.
Party has paid him $0.
That's crazy.
$0. So this whole party.com, this man has been running around in his underpants in public, and he has been paid not a cent for it. Can you imagine? He was literally arrested. He literally had criminal charges pressed against him in order to shout out this loser ass platform, and they have paid him this much money. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Now, that might be a lie. Maybe he has made money, right? And obviously, Party not paying him out doesn't mean he hasn't gotten TTS, which he definitely has gotten. So he has profited. So for the criteria of doing something while profiting, he has actually met that from a legal standard because he's gotten TTS, which Power Chat and all those TTS, that's a separate software. But I could believe that Party is like, once again, they're some unknown platform. I can absolutely imagine they haven't paid him out. That sounds to me very credible, right? I mean, it sounds to me like that's believable, that this guy has not seen a single dime from them. So that's the really great thing I wanted to point out, because to me, that is a big update, because knowing that Johnny is not having any money was Korea's strategy. This shows Korea's strategy worked. They wanted to bleed him for every cent till he was broke. He's now broke. Korea won. He's now broke. Korea won.
That's kind of funny that he just says Korea won, then the rest is just black. Okay, now Vitaly behind bars.
Today. So we're going to start with Vitaly. Vitaly, obviously, if you saw my other update, Vitaly was caught. He was widely covered by Philippine social media. And let me just show you one here. Looks like the media in the Philippines, and this is something that, once again, thank you to Frank. I'm not going to dox your last name or anything, but thank you for sending me those emails. I got all of them. They were on top of it. This is translated. It's in Tagalog, and I don't expect I expect my Filipino brothers and sisters to know Tagalog, but not the rest of you. It's got the translations on the bottom. You can see here. I'll turn the volume down a little bit.
Aakalain mong simpleng vlog lang yan. Ang lalaking nakaitim na t-shirt, nilapitan ng isang ginang na naglalakad sa labas ng mall.
I'm gonna rob you if you keep walking away. I want to give you money.
Pero ang babae, hindi siya pinansin at dire-diretso lang na naglakad. Ang foreigner naman, may pahabol pang panlalait.
Okay, because you got a COVID mask, you liberal. Go get your vaccine.
Sa sumunod na kuha, pumasok ang
So,
lalaki sa isang
once again, they were right on top of this. This is what I want to kind of point out. Right on top of the coverage
That is fast.
here. They were spreading this around on social media. They were clipping this. They were sharing this. And I think that goes a long way. I think and this is actually 6 minutes of coverage of this. We've obviously watched this. You've got the police officers here. You've got the footage. I'll play this here of him coming in.
Kahapon, tuluyan ng naaresto si Vitaly. Ayon kay Bureau of Immigration's Intelligence Division Chief Fortunato
So arrested, we're going to get into this, by the Bureau of Immigration, and we're going to get into why that's important.
Idineklarang undesirable foreign national si Vitaly, kaya ito naaresto sa bisa ng isang mission order. Sa ngayon, nasa detention facility sa Camp Bagong Diwa ang vlogger habang hinihintay ang deportation proceedings. Para sa 1PH, Ian Suyu, News 5.
So that was the report on the local news. So that was a clip that got shared around a lot on, I know, Philippine social media, and obviously, social media is the way things get get passed around nowadays. So people shared that out and found this guy very, very quickly. And another thing I want to point out, we're going to read an article here, is they're currently trying to hunt down his team, right? His whole team. And a lot of people, especially the Filipinos and Filipinas in the audience, they were getting very mad, not just at him, but also at that team. And I think that's justifiable because, to be honest, he wouldn't have been able to go as far as he did without people making excuses for him, essentially for covering for him and lying and saying, oh, yeah, this, sorry for this guy, right? Unless they were there apologizing and covering for this guy, he probably would have been in much more trouble even sooner than he was. It wouldn't have taken that long for him to get in trouble if he was by.
Yeah, I mean, the team definitely is the reason he escaped. He didn't get caught as quick. He didn't get caught quicker.
By himself. If he wasn't there with the cameraman, with the other team of locals that was deflecting things for him, I think he would be in much bigger trouble. I frankly do. All right, let's turn to the article that I want to read today and kind of get this moving. So right here, we've got an article. This is from ABS CBN. This is local kind of Manila news. I actually got this from their Twitter, their X account. And I just read it. I think it's a really good article. But Russian blogger Vitaly Zorovetsky showed no remorse after his arrest for allegedly harassing Filipinos in Bonifacio Global City, the Bureau of Immigration said. Skip down here. Zorovetsky was tagged as an undesirable foreign national after allegedly harassing security guards and stealing an industrial fan from a restaurant in Taguig City on Monday morning, March 31st. Here he is, by the way, in the station. And you can see, I don't want to get too much ads over here, but you can see that he was kind of rolling his eyes there. The YouTuber has been transferred to the Bureau of Immigration's facility in Camp Bagong Diwa. I'm gonna show you that, and is awaiting deportation proceedings. So we're going to get into that as well. A separate change.org petition has accused the vlogger of verbally assaulting a Filipino surfing instructor with vulgar, sexually degrading remarks during a safety briefing. He allegedly refused to follow safety rules and later told his followers to destroy the surfing building by leaving fake malicious reviews online. That's actually a crime in many places. I don't know about the Philippines, but that's
not okay. But if it's a crime or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just not.
It's actually a crime, right? That's business defamation. So he's encouraging you to engage in business defamation. There are now, this is great, searching for the Filipino cameraman. Investigators are seeking to identify the Filipino cameraman who was with Zorovetsky in his blog. That is great. He said police would file complaints for cybercrime, unjust vexation, and theft against Zorovetsky later in the day. So obviously the Filipino cameraman will be a clear accomplice, right? And even the Filipino cameraman, he's like, we committed a lot of crimes today. So it showed that he knew what he was doing. Like, he actually knew what he was doing. So this guy better be hiding out in the provinces or something, because he's going to get found. Like, he's going to get found. And he's going to have.
It doesn't help you have pink hair. From the videos we were watching last week, he had pink hair, which, hey, pretty obvious who you are. And you can tell the difference between some person, like an artist or something.
Have some consequences, I'm very sure, for being party to that and for enabling that. So let me show you guys where he was staying. So he was staying right here. What type of window is this? This is this one. Okay. So one of the Brave browser has less ads, so I use it, but Chrome is easier to use. Anyways, so this is Shangri-La at the Fort. This is a 5-star place. I have been here many a time. As you can see, the rooms are quite nice. This is not a side of the road motel. The quality here you would get in any Western place. They have spas, they have meeting rooms, right? They have a lot of stuff to do, but certainly it is a very high quality
I mean, it looks like a very expensive. I'm assuming it's a very expensive hotel.
establishment. It is 5-star, without a doubt. There's several Shangri-Las, but I think the one in the BGC is quite nice. So it is a very beautiful place. It is a very nice place to stay, right? Not to be besmirched by his reputation. I actually know one of the managers there. She's a very lovely woman in the lounge, because a lot of times I would need like a coffee or something, and I just want somewhere nice where I can get on the Wi-Fi and have a coffee. So, I would go down to the lounge at this one, or the one in Ortigas was also nice, or Makati. Was also nice, the Shangri-La chain. So very good people, very good service, really nice place, right? Really nice. That's where he was staying. Now let's meet his current place, shall we? Let's look at where he's at currently. He is at Camp.
So last night he used him. Honestly, nothing better.
Bagong Diva. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm very sorry, my Pinoy brothers and sisters. This is where he's staying now. Let's tab over here real quick. Here's a picture of some happy people.
So it's not going to be too fun for him.
Some happy people hanging out inside of this detention center, right? So he went from 5-star to let's tab over further here. This is where he is, but so he went from this high quality thing to this level of quality. Listen, as could be said, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It could not happen to a nicer guy. Yeah, it looks perfectly fine, right? Looks really comfortable. Like all of that.
Hey, you get what you deserve, and he definitely asked for this.
Wires, and it looks great. It looks totally fine place to be. Totally the same as 5-star hotel. And I'm sure there's video from the inside. I'm sure that there's other rough stuff. Once again, I don't want to get any in trouble with YouTube or anything else. Just want to comment on that quickly. Okay, so let's show you another interesting thing that I found here. So this was the Philippine deportation and detention statutes, which once again some people in the Philippines directed me to. And this is their provisions about the detention and deportation of foreign nationals. And what I thought was interesting was you actually, when you're waiting for deportation, so this is a good one. Where is this? Okay. Let's pay attention, because procedure is often how you're screwed. Under Section 94, the order of deportation shall be enforced immediately, but in no case shall exceed 3 months from the date it has become final and executive. So right now, what's happening is he is waiting for an order of deportation. He hasn't received one. And apparently, just even receiving one can take a while. They can make you sit in there and wait. Somebody in the comments said they know somebody who's been waiting 2 years, right, to receive a final order of deportation. But even after that, they can keep you. So even when you have this order of deportation, you can be kept for 3 months. And I'm like, well, that is great. That is sort of the process, is the punishment. So essentially saying, hey, even after you get this order of deportation, they can hang on to you for 3 months. And remember, the punishment for some of these crimes, like unjust vexation, appears to be, based on what I read and based on what others said, like 1 month in jail, up to 1 month behind bars. Well, you're getting 3 months if you just keep him in the immigration center, keep him in the immigration deportation center for 3 months. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that procedurally or at all. They're essentially getting 90 days of jail just because you want to, right? And once again, some people may cry and say, oh, what about due process? Don't come to other countries and screw around. By the way, Japan can do the same.
I mean, go to another country, you abide by their rules, or this happens to you.
Thing. Japan largely did that with Johnny Somali. They held him for several months before they deported him. And honestly, I think the Philippines should take a page out of Japan's book and say, hey, no, we're just going to hold this guy. We're just not going to do anything procedurally. We're going to sit on it because we don't have to. Legally, we don't have to. We can just sit on this for 3 months and then ship this guy off. So we're going to waste his time. He won't be able to stream. He won't be able to make any money. There's no streaming. And he's screwed. And once again, this is the process being the punishment. Why not? The more you keep these guys from streaming, the better.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Hopefully this ends the entire thing. Okay, we're gonna do the 31-minute one at the end because that's the longest video. So we're gonna skip that one for now.
Use Kayak's best time to travel tool to find the perfect time to go wherever you're going. Then do what people feel.
Ah, dang it.
Fix. Okay, we're going to talk about deep fix. Okay,
Oh,
we're going to talk about 3 charges in the Eastern District today. The first of which is the deep fakes. The deep fakes are possibly one of the more serious offenses. They're ones that, frankly, are quite bad. And they're ones that they're taking seriously. Once again, there was a big controversy, the nth room issue, and people were punished very harshly for this. And this is a very serious topic in Korea right now. They take it very seriously, and that's
Oh, the nth room. We reacted to the first part, which when we have a bit less news on Johnny and MADEIN, the other topic I talk about, we'll react to the second part of the nth room.
why the Women's and Juveniles District was handling it. One of the reasons, because deep fakes are important. Now, I say deep fakes because we now have confirmed there's at least 2 deep fakes that they're touching here. And what that means is that this can give the maximum penalty under the statute, which is 10.5 years. So Johnny can get Ramsey can get the max.
So, okay, so if we do the math right here, he's in a 5-year right now. And 10.5 would be, so it's 15 and a half years he's looking at. If these that are 10 years go through, that's 15 and a half years.
Maximum penalty for under the deep fake statute of 10.5. That's open and on the table because there are multiple deep fakes and not just one. So that is actually really good news about that that we have revealed from this. Once again, bombshell leaks. Any one of these things would be worth an entire stream. Okay, here's the deep fake timeline. And this timeline is important because this timeline shows the utter incompetence both of Hank and of the paid lawyer. If the paid lawyer was worth his salt, he would have gotten this stuff together. But because both the paid lawyer and Hank screwed up wildly, they actually made a fool of themselves. And actually, we on this channel helped make a fool of them because they completely misunderstood this process. So let me explain this to you. On February 18th, the Songpa police referred the case to the prosecutor. So we had that. We also had Ramsey leaking the referral notice on the 7th. So that's when he showed the paper. That was on the 7th. Okay. That was a big leak, which we covered immediately. And when I saw that, I said, oh, he's in trouble. This is probably going to be a new charge. And everybody jumped on that. And we were absolutely right. 100%. 100%. And then on March 25th, the Eastern District prosecutor indicted Ramsey. And as soon as that indictment was merged into the Western District on the 27th, your boy Legal Mindset informed everybody about it. So I told everybody immediately on the 27th when this was merged into the Western District, because that means it was part of the active case. And Ramsey flipped out about it. And Ramsey met with the lawyer, and Ramsey and Hank said, hey, people said we're indicted on this. People means me. They were watching my stream. By the way, I know who the one dislike is. It's Johnny, right? The one dislike on my stream is always Johnny. And then the second one is Hank, right? They were flipping out, and they asked the lawyer. And on the 28th, their paid lawyer had no idea, because he had no idea about the merger into the West, into the active case in the West. It was only after on April 1st when the lawyer found out because they met with prosecutor R. Young. Remember prosecutor R. Young, the top 10 prosecutor? Well, they met with that lawyer, and the lawyer's like, this is real. You were indicted. And so the lawyer figured out that he was wrong on the 28th. And in fact, he was indicted on the 27th when he met there. Ramsey, shortly after, goes radio silent. He stops streaming, goes silent. And on April 3rd, even incompetent Hank, found out because a copy of the indictment was delivered to Hank in both English and Korean. So in both English and Korean, they got that on the 3rd. So this is absolutely showing, I think, the incompetence of these people, because if they were competent, they would be able to follow these files. And Hank has all the capacity to follow this. Look, I'm not even Korean, and I'm able to follow this better than Hank or even Johnny's lawyer. How is that? Either one of his lawyers, right? That's not the highest level of competence. And that's certainly not the highest level of diligence. So Ramsey asked, can I go to jail for the deepfake? The lawyer said, unlikely, since you're an American. However, this lawyer is revealing how he doesn't know because there are several examples of Americans convicted and sentenced to prison for similar and less crimes. And in all of those cases, the defendants were highly cooperative with both police and prosecutors and respectful to the judge. They were not disrespectful, right? Like Johnny was. They were respectful, and they still got sentenced. Now, I'm going to show you just a little bit of this one. It's in Korean, so I'm just going to give you the overview. My Korean brothers and sisters can confirm, right, that this is what it is here. But we have some information here on a case. This is an American, right? And you can see here, let me zoom in, right? So you see Miguk here. Miguk is American, right? Miguk is American. This individual was charged with both an obstruction of business as well as an Information Act crime. Once again, two charges, right? One obstruction, one Information Act, a digital related crime, not even a sexual crime, just a digital crime. It's kind of an access crime. He's American. This is America right here, Miguk, right? Right here where my cursor is, right? Boop, right? So, and this is the crazy thing too. Look when this case started, 2016, right? Look how long it went from 2016 to 2018 to 2018. So all of this information that Americans can't go to jail for crimes in Korea is absolutely insane. It's inaccurate, right? Just because they don't go often doesn't mean that they don't go. And by the way, spending 2 years at trial in Korea is effectively a prison sentence. So on the deepfakes, deepfake charges, these deepfake charges, according to the records, which we have leaked, and we have this information leaked and confirmed, there are multiple victims on the deepfakes. So remember how Johnny was talking about getting out of this by having a settlement with Bong Bong? He talked about that publicly. It's something he said. Well, it wouldn't matter whether he has a settlement with anybody because he's got multiple victims. There's the female victim and there's the male victim, at least one male victim, which will be Youngman, who's specifically named, right? And there's probably more victims, the Korean streamers. So we have multiple victims. This is why this gets to be taken at the highest level of the statute. So the statute, the law, is at the highest punishment, 10.5 years, because there's multiple charges, multiple people, multiple deepfakes, multiple people that are harmed. There's a long discussion which was had between Hank and Johnny and the lawyer. They really disagree with the deepfake law. And they say, oh, the deepfake law is too broad. It's too powerful. you know, because you know how Hank is. Hank is like, oh, it's too feminist, it's too this and that. And Hank is moaning and crying about the deepfake law. Well, guess what? Disagreement with a law isn't a defense. And it is going to be almost impossible for this to get overturned by the Supreme Court of Korea, right? If you disagree with a law and you want to appeal the law itself as unconstitutional, that would take years to process through. And it is highly unlikely they're going to win. Johnny Somali is the least sympathetic plaintiff out there, period. So that saying, I don't like the law, doesn't matter. And here's why they don't like it. And here's why they're really hurting here. So Hank refers to the female victim as the B word, and that's on audio. Now, I don't, you know what? I'm not going to play. I have that, but I'm not sure which one that is. Let me actually play two of the audios related to the deepfakes here. I don't think this is the one with that, but let's play this one. First, this is they can't put an American in jail. I want to show you guys that. Once again, I want to make sure you guys see this.
Also, they can't put an American in jail. That's not true at all, because it doesn't work like that.
And see that what I'm saying is true, and it's backed up by evidence of what they were saying. So here's they can't put an American in jail quote.
How does that? They can't put an American in jail. They can't do it.
So he's claiming they can't put an American in jail. We just showed you an example of where they indeed put an American in jail.
Where they
so
can put an American in jail?
That's not a thing, you know, at all whatsoever. All right, here's another one. This is a longer clip. I believe this is about the deepfake. So let's watch this one.
The only reason I had to mute guys is for legal reasons. I don't want to tell you guys the strategy. You know what I mean? I can't. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Johnny. We actually know the complete strategy, and
what strategy do you have?
Because of leaks, because of leaky leaks. We know everything you're doing. So big L there. Let's continue.
Let's just say the lawyer don't think that serious. Let's just say, you know what I mean? That's why I'm silent right now. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's cocky.
So Hank, how like don't say too much about the strategy, but tell them, what does the lawyer feel about this?
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the law itself is also ridiculous because it just says embarrassment. It does not specify it.
That actually, so this is the part that I think really stands out, is that Hank is saying the law is ridiculous, but you thinking the law is ridiculous has nothing to do with whether the law is enforceable or not. You can think the law is ridiculous, but guess what? You're still responsible for following the law, right? You still have to follow laws even if you don't agree with them. That's the way the law works. The law works in a way in which if you are disobeying the law, right, you're guilty. Right? Whether or not you like it or disagree with it or hate it, you've got to follow the law. And Hank doesn't realize that. So he calls the female victim a B. We have video. I don't have that today, but we do have video of that. There's no settlement with the female victim. And even if there was a settlement, it's not a defense. Ramsey's strategy, think about this, guys. His strategy was to blame the victim, to blame and pressure the female victim in order to protect himself. This is highly offensive to the prosecution. And do you know why Ramsey was afraid that the prosecutor was a woman? Probably because he's claiming to blame a female victim of a deepfake crime. And to try to, in his words, reverse it on her. This is actually some language from Korean law. So let me just read this for you guys. Settlements are a manner of reaching sincere reconciliation. Focus on the word sincere. It's supposed to involve remorse and reflection between the defendant and the victim. Settlements are not a mechanism intended to solely reduce or eliminate punishment. The court takes into consideration victim settlements when the settlement is clearly authentic and sincere, and if it's sincere, can be mitigating. However, when there is evidence that the defendant thinks he can avoid punishment by falsely reflecting on their actions, it can be an aggravating factor. So what that means is, because Johnny is using this as a strategy to get out of trouble, and he is insincere, just like he was insincere in Japan, that actually will make his punishment and his sentencing worse. It's Uno reverse on him. Okay, guys, we have something we've been waiting for, and something that all of you helped do. So thank you.
Style and substance. In the GMC Sierra,
we have this. The Lotte World charges. This is one of the things that brought me into this. We have confirmation that they were looking into what went down at Lotte World and Jamshil and Seoul. We thought they weren't going to get involved.
Here we go, the really bad one.
They were going to stay out of it. They were not going to get involved. Actually, they've brought not one, but there's 2 potential charges from Lotte World. 2. The first one is kind of your basic pumpkin spice latte charge. The next one is extra crispy, real extra crispy. Let's continue here. Obstruction of business by Lotte World. It's coming. Now, let's be clear. The Lotte World obstruction charge is likely the obstruction charge that was merged in March. So that's likely the one we saw merged in already. So that likely was Lotte World. We didn't know what it was, and now we know it's probably Lotte World, which is awesome because we thought they weren't going to get involved. And his behavior was so disgusting and obscene at Lotte World. It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy. You guys called in. You sent letters. You pushed. You sent letters to the police, to Lotte, and I think that may have pushed it over the top. So really, to you guys, to the fans out there, to the Koreans, to the Americans, thank you for pushing those charges at Lotte World.
Alright, I am back.
What happened at Lotte World?
How to do something real quick.
He was disruptive. He ran around yelling and screaming, intentionally not listening to anyone there. He defied their orders. He snuck in cameras. He didn't listen to anybody or anything. He was unsafe. He filmed children, and you guys got obstruction here. And the big thing,
And the film and the children thing was disgusting.
which I said at this point, is per se, which means pretty much automatic obstruction, was he stopped a ride. A ride had to be stopped for him, and that is automatic, like what is called per se, which is pretty much automatic obstruction. So when a business has to shut down because of you, that is clear obstruction of justice. It's the clearest case. It's textbook. You don't need any more evidence than that stopped. And I was frustrated because I thought this might never come. I honestly was like, where's Lotte World? Are they just giving up? Do they not care? Right? They care.
They care very much. Alright. Then we go down to this one when we're done with these.
Let's start with this this update here. Now, this one is really cool. It's with Secretary Rumula, and this was a pretty good interview. I think it was with ANC. So I've got a translation for this. So let me pull this up, and I'm going to try to do this live. I may scuff it bad. But I'm going to try to translate this live. So let's go with this. This was done by the news. I believe this is actually really recent. So we're going to try to go and do this live. Thank you for contributing the translation here. I really appreciate those that gave me the translation. Maybe one of these days I should just have a Tagalog speaker like live with me so they can just do live translation instead of me reading. But thank you guys for helping me with translation. It's really awesome. Okay.
Lumabas sa video nung binabasahan siya ng Miranda rights, nagkikiss pa siya, nagfa-flying kiss. So clearly it's for...
Okay, so let me do the little translation there. She said, it seems in the videos when he is being read his Miranda rights that he's doing a flying kiss. So clearly it's for his YouTube to get more views, but what happens to him now? So
for his YouTube, no, to get more views. But what happens to him now?
Kasi nangyayari dati. Tuwing ginaganyan siya sa ibang bansa, i-deport lang siya.
Oo.
I-deport siya, so tapos na. So, mission done, bye-bye Philippines, kala niya, gano'n na lang. Eh, siyempre, hindi kami pumayag. Pwede ba namang bye-bye na lang, gano'n na lang, ginagawa mga Pilipino, tas gano'n na lang?
Oo.
So, napag-decision na namin, kakasuhan namin.
Tama. So, pwede ba siya?
Okay, so what the secretary there, by the way, that's the secretary on the right, on the left. What he said is, by the way, yes, he is actually pretty swole. The secretary is pretty jacked. I think he could beat up Vitaly. But what the secretary said there is because of what happened before in other countries he visited, if he just gets deported, then mission done, bye-bye Philippines, he thinks he's okay. So, of course, we didn't agree. Does he think...
Thank goodness for that.
It's only goodbye? He says gagao, which is a foul word. Like this is a note from my translator. Gagao is GAGO is a foul word like a-hole or jerk. He is being an...
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Hey, how long will this take? I'm kind of...
Oh, just 10 minutes.
Get out! 10 minutes?
or jerk to Filipinos, and he thinks that it's the end of it. So we decided to file the case.
Makulong? Sa mga pinagagawa niya, makulong?
Opo. His cases now, I think there are 5 cases filed. All of them are
5 cases already.
Already within a few days, 5 cases. That's Philippines is fast.
Already filed. Oh, by the way, she did ask the question before he responded. She asked the question, so can he go to prison because of what he did? And his answer was, so I think there's 5 cases filed, right? So just make sure that you guys understand that.
Available. However, upon rules of the Bureau of Immigration, if he is an undesirable alien, the Bureau of Immigration has a right to detain him in the process of his hearing.
So pwede siyang magdusa sa kulungan. Hindi siya makaka-vlog. Di ba? Wala
Yes.
siyang kilala.
She said, so it means he will suffer inside prison and he will not be able to vlog. He will not try vlogging again.
Labas, di na niya yan uulitin.
He has no access to a cell phone. He has an access only to a cell phone to contact family or attorney. He's not allowed to vlog about anything which goes on inside the detention facility. He will live on the national stipend of 3 meals at 70 pesos a day.
Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch that little bit right there? 3 meals, 70 pesos a day.
That's for all 3 meals. He will get special treatment. He will live in a common cell, walang air conditioner. Basta kulong siya habang nag-hearing siya. And I think that hearing the civil trial, I don't know, it's civil criminal, maybe it's criminal, it will maybe last 2 to 3 years. Then the minimum charge, I think, will be 5 years per guilty verdict.
Okay, let me say that because there's a little Tagalog in there, so I want to clear it up and like give you guys that because this is massive. Like, and I have this on a PowerPoint slide to reinforce it because this is the bombshell of today. Okay, let me read this clearly. He has no access to a cell phone. He only has access to contact his family or attorney. He is not allowed to vlog anything which goes inside the detention facility. He will live on the national stipend of 3 meals at 70 pesos a day. That's all for 3 meals. He will not get special treatment. No air conditioner. No air conditioner. He is inside prison while his hearing is ongoing. And I think, and he debates whether it's civil or criminal, it really doesn't matter. But he says, regardless of civil or criminal, it will be 2 to 3 years until his hearing is done. That's not sentencing, that's the trial. His trial will not be over for 2 to 3 years. We'll talk more about that later. But that is amazing. And he says the minimum charge, the mandatory minimum, will be 5 years per guilty verdict. The minimum. Cooked.
Philippines is not playing around.
Guys, I'm in Thailand right now, which is very similar. Last year, actually, during this time, I was also in Manila. I had an apartment in BGC as well. And it is hot. It is really hot. I had to wear a suit today and I completely sweated. And I was mostly from cab to AC, but even being outside, like it's very similar weather. It is hot. It is really hot. Without AC, that is really rough. I'm just going to say it is.
That's not going to be a fun experience.
Rough. You're cooking. You are cooking.
Quite literally.
So she will reinsert here in Tagalog after. So he's detained for 2 to 3 years. Let's continue.
So pwede siyang nakadetain ng 2 to 3 years.
For the hearing pa lang yan.
He's saying just for the hearing. So he's reinforcing this. So she clarifies and he reasserts, yeah, that's just the hearing. Have fun with that.
That's not the
right?
verdict.
So that is how big of a point that is. That had to be clarified. That he's going to sit for 2 to 3 years just for the trial. Glorious.
Hearing pa lang yun. Pero so it means it's clear he will not be deported just like that.
The decision not to have him deported. Ito, after, pagkatapos ng pagkatuwaan, niloloko mo na Pilipino, pinagkakatawaan mo pa Pilipino, pinapahiya mo Pilipino, pinagkakitaan mo pa Pilipino. Tapos babay na lang? Walang ganoon, di ba? Fair is fair.
Okay, so what he said there was, oh no, not just like that. We made a conscious decision not to have him deported. After he made fun, jokes, shamed, and make money off Filipinos and then tried to say goodbye, nothing like that. Fair is fair. Solid. Listen, saying this is just fair play, fair is fair.
Yo, these Katie's are
respect there. That one. I say the same thing.
I'm seriously, I'm having a drink tonight.
Let's
This is
go
I need to pop some
Philippines.
champagne or something like that, because this is absolutely one of the best things I could hear for stopping nuisance streaming in Asia. And here's the best thing. They know that, like, yeah, Chad Ramu over here. They know that they're not just doing this for the Philippines. They know they're doing this for Asia. Let me play this here quick.
And not only that, he may just move to another Asian country and do the same thing, right? For his
So they know. So look what he just said there. Look what he just said. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna play that back one more time. Right? Play that back one more time.
that he may just move to another Asian country and do the same thing, right? For his content.
See, they know. Look at the Philippines is on this. And this is why I think the Philippines is different, because they're paying attention to these English language creators, and they know that they're going to do this. They know, and the government official knows. This is why he's screwed. And this is what we need to get in Japan. We need to get this in Korea. We need to get this all over the world with people on the same level as the Philippines that understand their psyche, that understand how they're going to go. They're just going to go and do it elsewhere. So if you don't stop them there, they're going to do it elsewhere. So the Philippines is really protecting other countries from Vitaly and people like Vitaly by doing this. There's no someone mentioned in the chat, there's no language barrier. They understand what they're saying, they understand what they're doing. So they get them, and they know we got to stop them.
This should apply to all countries, not just Asia, no matter where you go. If you
And it's exactly the right thing. That's exactly what I've been saying. They're saying it. We're all on the same page here, which is glorious. It is so happy for me to know that. It's difficult in Japan and in Korea to sometimes understand whether the government officials get it, whether they really get it, or whether they're just kind of getting it, right? Whether there's some lost in translation. There's no lost in translation here. These people absolutely 100% get it, and they know that they've got to stop these people and draw a line, and they're doing that, which to me, that just makes me the happiest man in the world to hear that. And like, as an expat, as somebody who loves the Philippines, loves Southeast Asia, loves Asia in general, it's the best for this whole region. It really is, to keep this guy and others like him behind bars. It's a huge example.
Okay, so that's one, that's clear. So I want to move on now to another issue, which is, you said you're leaving for Washington, D.C.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna stop there because the next was about DC, right? So we're not doing the rest of his like political tour, but that's the relevant part. That is absolutely the amazing thing about this.
So you think you know Wix?
Thank you, Philippines. Okay, we're gonna do these two, then we're gonna move down to that one. Because that's the big one.
Okay, let's get into this island thing, shall we? This is why I have an India flag in my PowerPoint, because this is all India. This was my thumbnail. This is North Sentinel Island.
Oh boy, India.
Beautiful island, actually. This is one of the few places in the world where there is an uncontacted tribe that is at the kind of Neolithic level. They're at the level of like Bronze Age here, something like that. And they're undeveloped, and every person who's come to this island to visit them has been repelled by force. So this uncontacted tribe will like shoot arrows at people, and this has gone back in the day when the British landed there in the 1890s or 1880s, something like that. They were firing at them, shooting arrows at them, the Dutch, etc. There was a National Geographic group that went to film them, and they actually got repelled as well by violence. When other tribes people come here, they're attacked. So they don't really care who you are, what color you are, whatever. They attack all outsiders. And there was a missionary that came here, and he was actually killed. So what happened was there was a nuisance streamer, an American YouTuber by the name of Mikhail Victoria.
Oh yeah, let's go to the island to try to nuisance stream over there.
Polyakov of Scottsdale. I don't know his exact YouTube channel, but he was a YouTuber, and he was doing this for the content, right? So this was 100% a person who was attempting to nuisance stream. Anyways, he tried to visit this island, leaving a Diet Coke and a coconut in an attempt to make contact with this tribe. He was arrested 2 days after he set foot on the island, which is part of India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And let me show you guys where this island is. It's actually really close to me here in Thailand. It's actually closer to Thailand than it is to India itself. Let me pull up the little map here. It is like in the Andaman Sea, which is just west of Thailand. If you've ever been to Phuket, You can kind of look out in that direction. That's the sea you're kind of facing. So let me pull this up here so you guys get a little geography. I like maps. I'm kind of maptistic that way. So you can see here. Here's me. Here's over here. I'm hanging out in Bangkok, and then you've got over here the Andaman Sea. So you got Phuket right here. Phuket right here, over here, and then you've got the Andaman Sea. This is actually owned by India. So India actually owns these islands. And that goes back to the time in which, in case you guys don't know, little history lesson, there was India, kind of had a mandate over all these territories. There was Pakistan and Bangladesh were all part of it. And then they broke away. Pakistan broke away, and Bangladesh was considered like East Pakistan. But then there was a war, and then India kind of intervened, and they kind of took control of that stuff. So they've got sovereignty here. North Sentinel Island is the one that you cannot go to. And you can see the tribesmen there in the photo. You are not supposed to go there at all ever. You can visit some of these other islands. So you can visit like South Andaman and some of these other islands you can visit. You see there's a road here. So you can come here. So what he did was he went to this big island and he bribed a fisherman to come close, right, to that island. And that's a big no-no. So you are not supposed to go there. So what did they do to this nuisance streamer? Well, they punished him. They sentenced
as you should
him to 14 days in judicial custody, and he will appear before the court April 17th. The charges carry a sentence of up to 5 years in prison and a fine. So I am all for giving these guys 5 years. Sounds great. Give them 6 months, give them a year at least. I am all for that, because people need to know that, look, if these things are illegal, if you're told, hey, you cannot go there, you're not supposed to, mess with this, you should not go there. You should not mess with it. You should not make content out of it. It says right here, inhabitants use spears, bows, and arrows to hunt animals that roam on the small, heavily forested island. Deeply suspicious of outsiders, they attack anyone who lands on their beaches. Now, this is the part I wanted to comment on. And this is the part that I want to give a little caveat to. So people inform the State Department, and the State Department says the department has no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens abroad, a State Department spokesman said. We are aware of reports of the detention of a U.S. citizen in India. We take our commitment to assist U.S. citizens abroad seriously and are monitoring the situation. This is not a comment that they're going to get him out of jail for free. This just says, hey, we're looking at it, we know about it, but we're monitoring it. Does not mean they're going to save the guy. In fact, they probably, if anything, just gave him a list of local lawyers. That's what I've said they always do. They'll give you a list of local lawyers, and that's about it. They are not there to bail you out of jail. They're not to get out of jail free card. They're not going to bargain for you. They're not going to make a deal with India to return some Indian gangster for some YouTuber. That's not going to happen. They had to make the statement because they were asked a question, but that is a nothing burger statement, right? Of course, they have to say they have priority for U.S. citizens. Of course, they're going to say that, right? That's like a corporate statement that means nothing. Like, oh, we support all people, right? A corporate statement means nothing, right? Same thing with this. We support U.S. citizens. Yeah, of course you do, right? But how do you do that? You don't do it by getting them out of jail for free. So he is not going to get any rescue. I would not count on that at all.
Yeah. I mean, it says, don't visit the island. Don't visit the island. I think it's self-explanatory there. All right. So this one, then we go to the
Say hello
a very long one. So
shrimp it with fingers.
Let's start with some updates on Somali, because I want to get this up there clear, because I think a lot of people are still not like they didn't catch up with the fact that the trial was delayed. So I want to talk about that, and also talk about the fact that it may be delayed longer. And I was talking with two people. One of them gave me a single comment on this. The other one gave me some other thoughts. But we have a delay from April 9th to March 16th. So obviously, we're in the same courthouse for Somali's trial, which is the Western District Courthouse, from the same courtroom, which is 406, same judge, same prosecutor, which, by the way, the prosecutor in the Western District is not Jang Aryang. It is, in fact, a different prosecutor. However, Jang Aryang was in the Eastern District. She's the one that brought a lot of these related crimes, the deepfakes, the CSH. And I need to be very careful on what I say with that because we're still early in the stream. So even talking about that dark subject will get us in trouble with the
YouTube is very finicky on the stuff. Which is why when I do the MADEIN videos, I have to say essay instead of the actual word.
The algorithm. So we'll just say CSH. If you don't know what that stands for, you can look at my other streams and kind of figure that out. And of course, the next, the obstruction of business case, which is coming from Lotte World. So some people have said to me that Ramsey's case, while it's currently delayed to May 16th, could plausibly be bounced once again. And I warned you guys that this process could take a year. It could take 2 years. That is entirely possible depending on how they play it. And also the court, they can slowball this. They can bring in witnesses even just for sentencing. So they can push this thing out very slowly. They have no impetus, no reason to speed this up and get him out of there or get the ruling quick. They can just keep him. And that's totally fine. He's getting his due process. So people have actually been mentioning to me that he may get this may get pushed even further. So we could see this May 16th date even move to June or July or even further. And there's a couple reasons for that. And there's more than this, but these are ones that kind of stand out and I wanted to talk about here today with you guys. The first is that there is additional evidence being submitted on the new charges. I mean, there's additional evidence that we have submitted that the Somali conviction team has submitted. But obviously there's plans to submit more evidence regarding the new charges, right? Lotte World, the CSH, you guys know what that means, as well as the deepfakes, right? And there is video literally of Ramsey Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali, saying he is purely trying to silence the female victim. Of course, the female Korean streamer, they are trying to silence her. And beyond that, the other thing is he positioned himself as her boyfriend. He said, this is my girlfriend. Look, this is my girlfriend. So he didn't just position himself and show a random deepfake. He actually made a false statement. Yeah, this is a person I'm dating. I'm in a romantic or relationship with this woman, and put that out there for the world to see. And like I said, that would be very embarrassing. That would cause people to be embarrassed, ashamed. That would cause a reaction from the audience, which is how that is judged. When you look at the deepfakes, the law turns on people's reaction to it. And the reaction is not good. The reaction of any woman. Once again, this isn't just about Johnny Somali. This is about broader in Korea. There's a big problem with deepfakes being made of people and then people saying, hey, this is my girlfriend, this is my wife, this is my mistress, this is whatever, right? Or look, I'm hooking up with this girl. The danger is if you allow these deepfakes to propagate, people are going to continue to do it. Copycats will happen. And if you don't cut it out at the root, it does propagate. So I think that despite the fact that some people think this is harsh, I think this is absolutely necessary to prevent people from going down this road, because once you start down that deepfake road, it really doesn't stop. And we have cases.
Hey, it's like a virus or a weed. If you don't stop it at the root, it's going to continue to spread until it becomes like overgrown.
This is like the nth room, etc., where people create further and further stuff that is sexual in nature, that is more adult in nature, even than what Johnny Somali showed. Although under Korean law, kissing is a sexual act, right? But that's going to lead to more and more propagation of this if it's not cut out in the bud, if it's not nipped in the bud. And I don't have a problem with that jurisprudence. I don't have a problem with that law. In fact, I'm happy if that deepfake law comes to other jurisdictions. I think that would actually stop that. We're going to have to come up with laws to handle that sort of stuff. And I think harsh laws are merited in these circumstances. Absolutely. So I think with the additional evidence that comes in, they're going to be struggling to, number one, go through that evidence, because the defense attorneys are going to have to go through that evidence. And then the number two is that we're going to have a panic from the defense. That kind of goes into number two here, a panic on the defense and representation issues. So here's what's happening is they're having to decide, how are we going to defend against this? What's our story? What's our angle, right? And also here's the very complicated thing. This public defender is totally blindsided. The Western District Public Defender is blindsided by this because he had no idea. He wasn't covering this. He wasn't in the Eastern District. This was supposed to have been nipped in the bud and stopped before indictment by the Eastern District, quote unquote, paid lawyer, but that lawyer failed. That lawyer failed to stop that indictment from going through. And as I've said, once something is officially indicted, once it's on the court record, it's really not coming off. We don't have much history talking to people or experience with a indictment coming off and being removed or dropped. Now, a prosecutor can choose to recommend a lighter sentence, even if there was a lot of cooperation, if the person was friendly, if they were apologetic. But this is not that scenario. This is Johnny Somali. He has been unapologetic. He has been unashamed. He says, I don't care. And he says, I'm going to bring this B word down. That's what he said about the female victim. And that is absolutely an aggravating factor under Korean law. And I think they're going to have to consider that. And the public defender has no idea on the strategy on how to do this. They haven't had that little romantic defense meeting that they had with the paid lawyer. In fact, I'm not even sure the public defender is going to give them the time of day. Because remember, there's a difference between a paid lawyer and a public defender. A public defender does not have to give you unlimited time. A public defender does not have to review your stuff all day. They have to give you a certain amount of consideration, and that's it. They don't have to sit with you for hours and hours. They don't have to pour over this in an unlimited fashion. They have multiple clients they have to handle, and you're just one of them. And one of the issues is I don't think Johnny has enough money to pay this attorney from the Eastern District to represent him in the West and spend all that time in court and all that time catching up. I think there's monetary issues, and that's going to become a huge mess. So I can see them saying, hey, look, we're going to have to sort this out, and that's going to take more than a month to sort out that issue. And I think the lawyers themselves may recommend to delay it yet again. So we're going to see as we get closer to May. I expect a couple days before we might even get a delay again. But once again, I'm telling you what's on the court records as of tonight. It is May 16th. That's the next day. Once again, I know a lot of people were asking, well, what about April 9th? No, that was completely moved. That date was completely moved. And then last, this is the most interesting one to me. I think one of the other things is decision to challenge. And I can see a realistic scenario where Johnny Somali pleads guilty to everything but the deepfakes and possibly the CSH charge. Obviously, he's going to want to try to fight that if it comes down. I think that's pretty reasonable. So if this...
I mean, honestly, considering what that is, you'd try to argue why that's not the case.
CSH comes in as a separate charge, not included as part of obstruction, but a separate actual charge. I think that is something he may try to plead not guilty to. And the deepfakes, I think in a very reasonable scenario, he may try to fight that. He did say he was going to fight that. Now, I don't believe much that comes out of Ramsey Khalid Ismail's mouth, but if he decides to plead not guilty, we're in for a longer trial. So if he wants to try to fight that specific charge and just go for the obstruction, we can do that. Then we're talking about another year, right? Then we're pushing this into 2026 very reasonably, which would be fun. So Ramsey is in a kind of a catch-22. He can plead guilty to the deepfake and hope that he's been nice and cooperative and lovely and said beautiful things about the court, so they sentence him lightly, or he can plead not guilty and try to fight it and be here for another year. So it decides, which do you want? Which do you want, Ramsey? Do you want to be here for another year fighting this case, or do you want to plead guilty and hope that you've been a good boy? We will see about that.
Obviously,
for the professional.
Obviously, he has been a good boy, so honestly, the only option is to try to fight it and hope it goes out your way. All right. So now we go to the big video.
Today, we have massive leaks in the Johnny Somali case. This is a summarized version of my stream. It's going to be without any video. So if you want to see the supporting video, you can check out my full stream, which should come out about the same time or a little bit before this summary video comes out. But I wanted to give a condensed version, a speed run for those that needed the quick facts and a shorter text version. So let's jump right into it. Well, we've got some massive stuff coming today. Where did it come from? Well, we've got a bunch of sources of information. First and foremost, we have information leaked accidentally by Johnny Somali himself. He was streaming from his lawyer's office, and he revealed a lot of information in that both in things that he said. That's what I actually discount a little bit less, put a lot less weight in that. But things were said in Korean, which were audibly heard. You could clearly hear them in Korean. And because Johnny did not understand Korean, he did not understand that important things were being said, which were clearly picked up on and translated by those over in the Somali conviction team. That is a team working with me to put Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid, Ismail behind bars. And also, Johnny has, over the course of this case, revealed several papers that he has shown that have information from the police, from investigators, from prosecutors. And while he can't read Korean, once again, we have people on our team that can do that. So therefore, we took that information, extrapolated it, investigated it, deep dived on it, and got some answers behind this, what went on here today. A lot of this was a March 28th legal meeting with his quote-unquote paid lawyer in the Eastern District, which we'll get into in a second. We also have leaks by sources close to Hank. Hank is breaking down. You'll hear why. And he is leaking like a sieve. Information is coming out from him and people close to him, which has been corroborated by other anonymous inside sources, people that are, whether they're inside Johnny's community, whether they're people that are in the know regarding the process, that are in the know in the back of the house. There's a lot of folks that are helping on this. Some are very high up, very influential people in Korea that he is pissed off, and they are aiding in this effort to put him behind bars. Lastly, we have official court records, which I give the greatest weight because when I see something in the court, we know it is done. And today we're going to talk about a lot of things that we know are done because they are official. They're in the record. As a quick update, this is something that just came out. Johnny Somali's trial date has been moved. It was supposed to happen on April 9th, 2025. That was going to be a plea hearing. That is going to be moved likely because his defense attorney, his public defender in the Western District has moved for a delay, has moved to push that back, likely due to the new deepfake charges. So expect that date to be moved. We will announce it on this channel. I will also announce it on my X account once we know the official date to which it is moved. I highly predict that the judge will grant that. And even if they didn't grant that, if they showed up to court on the 9th, they could just say, hey, we want to delay. The lawyer could show up and say, hey, we want to delay, and the judge will likely grant that delay. Korea is fine to let the process drag out. In fact, many of these cases last for years, even up to 2 years in time, which once again is time that Johnny cannot work. He's going without money. He's having to pay for himself, or have Hank sugar daddy him, which may be running dry. And that is absolutely, I think, a good thing that the system of Korea is not paying for Johnny. So let's first start talking about his lawyer. So we have some information on this quote unquote paid lawyer. He has 2 real lawyers. We're not counting Hank. First is a public defender in the Western District. That is a free attorney that is provided in the Western District where he has an active case. He also has a paid attorney in the Eastern District. Now, the Eastern District charges, as we're going to see, are largely being merged into the Western District. So this paid lawyer is unregistered in the West. So this paid lawyer is unaware of the exact proceedings and what's going on in the Western District. So he really has no idea about what's going on unless he contacts certain people or does extra effort. And it appears that he is kind of being lazy with his proceedings. Also, people that were in the know and some legal professionals and others that analyzed this, as well as people that looked at this lawyer, it appears he's kind of what you might call in the U.S. a strip mall lawyer. He's got a very heavy Korean, heavy specific regional accent, which is very hard to understand. He also seems to be very inexperienced with criminal procedure because he doesn't understand the concept of merging cases. Now, to be fair, merging cases is very rare. In fact, in the case of Johnny Somali, we don't just have one merged case, we have several. We now have 3 merged cases that are coming in from the Eastern District to the West. Even one is extraordinarily rare, but now we have multiple coming in and may have even more, as you're going to see quickly. We also have Hank Yu. Hank Yu is his unofficial lawyer. His real name is Han Jong-yu. He has been touting himself as his legal rep. In fact, we have audio, if you watch my full stream, that has Hank saying, I'm his legal representative. He makes that statement. First of all, he's a non-attorney, he's a non-lawyer. He thinks he is a lawyer because his granddaddy was a prosecutor way back in the day, but indeed he is not. And indeed, many of his poor translations and failed understanding of the law, or rather contempt for the law, saying that the law is unfair or the law is unjust, complaining about it and thinking that's going to get them off the hook. Well, that's not how things work in Korea, according to pretty much every legal expert or person with experience in the Korean criminal system has reported to me. So about Hank considers himself the legal rep. Up to date, Hank has been paying for Ramsey for everything, up to and including his one paid lawyer. In fact, it's speculated that that paid lawyer may be a family friend or doing a favor, but he indeed did pay for at least the consultation for that paid lawyer that happened on March the 28th. Now, sources report Hank is at least partially, if not fully, cut off. Now, I don't expect that his family is trying to starve him out. I don't expect that they're trying to get him to not eat or anything else like that. But I do expect that they're seeing this, and we do have reports that they know about what's going on with Ramsey, and they are not happy about it, and they are cutting him off from further deep support of Ramsey. They found out that he is deep in the finances, paying for everything with Ramsey, and they are not happy about that. Perhaps that's because this last week we've been exposing this. We've been putting out information on how Ramsey is being pretty much financed by Hank, and Hank is begging online for money for Ramsey and is even considering streaming himself just to provide funds for Ramsey. Next, we're going to talk about the police and the prosecution. These are huge leaks in information that we didn't have before. We know that Ramsey's case is being handled at the highest level of the police. The Songpa police, which are in the Eastern District, they put the superintendent of Women's and Juvenile Crimes Division on the case. Cases are typically not handled by superintendents. That's like a police chief almost handling a case. Typically, they're handled in Korea by sergeants. Sergeants are gyongsa in Korean. That's a mid-level non-commissioned officer. A gyeonggam is the police superintendent. That is a senior level commissioned officer. So this means that this is being handled very seriously by the Koreans. This is not something that they are treating like a joke, as you'll see them say repeatedly in very many clips. They laugh it off. They take it as a joke. This is something that's being handled at the very highest level and is indeed quite serious, just based on how the police have treated it. We also have found out that the police department hates Ramsey, especially the Songpa police.
At this point, who doesn't?
Police, but the Mapo police as well. They don't like him. The police don't like him because he doesn't cooperate. He doesn't help out. He doesn't give information, and he's always trying to plead the fifth. Now, while you can exercise your rights, if you're an innocent person and it's minor, you typically cooperate because that's taken into account for your sentencing and punishment, and also for the charges they bring against you. Typically, if you are fully cooperative, they might not bring as many charges against you. But why we see all these charges being added is because Ramsey has been completely uncooperative. So the police have gone forward with pretty much most of what we've been talking about in this channel, which we're going to get to with some of these charges in the Eastern District, because we've now got more charges revealed in the Eastern District and what they are and the facts of them, which we're going to get to in a second. They've concluded investigations on most charges and referred them to the prosecutor. There is one charge, a huge charge, that is coming down the pike potentially, and we're going to talk about that. We also have a very specific term here in Korean law for referring things to the prosecution, and you see this term in many of the documents. This is something that is revealed when he flips over the paper, which actually shows that the police have forwarded these investigations and they're taking them extraordinarily seriously. Beyond that, guys, this is a little chart here. I've shown this chart before, but it's very important to understand this process. Once you have a complaint filed, the police investigate and refer to the prosecutors. Once you refer to the prosecutors, it is very rare for things to be dropped. And once they go to the court and there's an official indictment, you're done. You're sunk. That's when you get that 98+ conviction rate, which is absolutely doomed. And this is where most of the things we have today are. So we're already on step 4 for most of
So basically, he's really screwed.
These charges. Let's get into the prosecutor. The Eastern District prosecutor has been revealed. It is Jung Aryang. She is a woman. She is one of the top 10 prosecutors in Korea. She is repeatedly commended as an excellent prosecutor. She has an outstanding record and for multiple years has received awards. So they've given this to one of their most capable prosecutors. Of course, Ramsey is not concerned about her capability or her merit. He's concerned because she's a woman. In fact, that's the first thing that he said when he found out her name. Oh, she's a woman. That's bad, right? He is scared of the fact that she is a woman because many of these crimes are directed towards women. And as we're going to find out, children as well. Ramsey's lawyer tried to meet with this prosecutor to beg her to drop with the deepfake case, to beg her to drop it. And as we're going to see with the deepfake case, the hilarious thing is by the time he met with her, it was already too late. The charge had already been indicted. They'd already moved on. They've already processed this. So it was too late to even do that meeting. But they were trying to beg her to drop it because they thought she could drop it, but she'd already indicted and it had already been moved over to the Western District. Now, Ramsey's lawyer said it's difficult to deal with them because the law enforcement has a bad feeling about Johnny. So the prosecutors and the police both do not like Johnny due to his belligerence and non-cooperation. And also they mentioned that both the police and the prosecutor are aware of his other actions, such as the actions with the statue. Now, this is an important clarification. He's actually not charged with any crimes related to the statue. None of the crimes are related to him in his disgusting actions.
Honestly, I'm surprised because that's what kind of started it all was the statue. And that's the one that was the least problem one. Because it wasn't a crime. That wasn't the least. It's kind of surprising though.
Regarding the Comfort Woman statue, which once again represents the sexual victims during World War II, the Korean women that were often underage children that were forced into sexual bondage, during the Japanese occupation and during the course of World War II. It's actually not any charges related to that. We don't have any charges related to that. These are all other actions. But because they know about that and is belligerent and he's not cooperating, obviously they're not happy. So let's talk about the first of the charges coming from the Eastern District. That is the deep fake case. And I say deep fakes because we now have confirmed there is more than one, which actually means this is going to come under the harshest statute available for deep fakes, which allows for up to 10.5 years maximum sentence for prison. Once again, there is no minimum sentence, but the maximum here is 10.5, which is the most extreme, which is good. And I'm going to go through the timeline here. The timeline is the Songpa police on February 18th referred the deepfake case to the prosecutor, which means at that point, it's looking pretty solid. And we had that based on the information that Ramsey flashed across the screen. He flashed across a paper which revealed that this was already sent to the prosecutor. And I called it out at the time and I said, he's screwed on this because this is going to go on to court. If something is sent to the prosecutor, it is highly likely you're going to get an indictment. Well, on March 7th, he leaked that, right? And then on the 25th, the Eastern prosecutor indicted Ramsey. On the 27th, that indictment moved from the East to the West. The West is where his current case is. They are trying to consolidate everything in that Western District because it's already going, it's already pending, and they want to bring everything over to there so they handle it all in one trial rather than breaking it up into multiple trials. So on that day, I knew immediately, and I informed everybody on the 27th. Because of that, Ramsey and Hank were panicking and they were talking about that with their lawyer. And that lawyer had no idea. I actually predicted that on my stream. I said, his lawyer might not even know because the lawyer is not registered in the West. He's only registered in the East. So he actually wasn't accessing the right court records that were in the Western District. So at that meeting, he actually said, oh, you're not indicted for this. Oh, you're not indicted yet. He was. So the hilarious thing was the lawyer wanted to meet with the Eastern District prosecutor, the outstanding prosecutor Aryang, once again, one of the best prosecutors in all of Korea, literally in the top 10 prosecutors in Korea. And when he met with her, he found out. It is no coincidence that Ramsey went silent shortly after this. He no longer was streaming on Party. He was going dark on Discord, really going quiet because he found out oh shit, I'm actually indicted on this. And he got complete confirmation of this on April 3rd when an indictment in English was mailed to Hank. Once again, he is staying at Hank's apartment. Hank Hong Jong-yu has been his complete benefactor in Korea, and he was informed of that on April 3rd, so that was confirmed. Once again, Ramsey goes silent around the same time. That's no coincidence at all whatsoever. On the deepfakes, Ramsey asked if he can go to jail for this. The lawyer said it's unlikely since you're American, which actually revealed the inexperience and ignorance of this lawyer. Because, as you can see on my main stream, I won't take the time here, but I show an example on the stream. I'm going to show a clear example. There was an American that went to jail, that was sentenced to 1 year in jail, prison time, for a single crime. And this was actually predating deepfakes. This was just one cybercrime and an obstruction of business. So remember, Ramsey has at least 2 obstruction of business charges already on the docket, 2 Minor Crimes Act, and a deepfake. So Ramsey has over double the amount of charges. And that person, that defendant, was completely cooperative with the judge in the court. There's also several other examples of Americans being sentenced to time. I don't have enough time to go over all of those in the stream. I'm trying to keep it brief, but there are multiple instances of Americans being sentenced to hard prison time in Korea. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years has absolutely happened. Americans are not exempt from that at all, right? Once again, this lawyer is only looking at the limited information in that Eastern District, and frankly doesn't seem to have much experience with these types of crimes at all whatsoever. Beyond that, the prosecutors and the police were cooperated with the other defendants that ended up going to jail, the other Americans. So we're talking about Ramsey, who's been disrespectful in court. He hasn't helped the police.
So all the other ones were completely cooperative when they got sentenced to jail, and he has not been cooperative at all. So your chances are worse than theirs if they went to go jail while being cooperative and you're not. And yeah,
police. He's been disrespectful to the prosecutors. He hasn't given over any information. They're not going to look very kindly on that when it comes to sentencing. Now, the deepfake charges appear to have multiple victims. So at first we thought there might only be a female victim, one of the streamers in Korea, but actually there's at least one male victim, if not more, likely more. That one victim we're very clear about. He's named specifically in video, which we have, and I play on my stream, which is Youngman. And there's a clear deepfake of him, and that's they talk about that. That's registered. We've got that fully disclosed. But also there's deepfakes of the other Korean streamers, Dalgoon, other streamers as well. They're making out, kissing Ramsey, and that is considered sexual in Korea. That is a sexual deepfake, which carries a higher penalty. There was a long discussion had, and this was leaked out information, on the deepfake law. Hank went off on a rant along with the paid lawyer on how they don't like the law and how they had problems with it. And they were complaining that the law is very broad because it considers audience embarrassment. That is, it considers people seeing that being embarrassed to see that, which certainly when you see that, yeah, you would be embarrassed, particularly since Ramsey said that the female victim was his girlfriend. And certainly it would be very embarrassing for somebody to have information out there that they are the girlfriend of a convicted international criminal. He's convicted in Japan, and somebody who's been arrested on multiple other charges. That would be deeply embarrassing to somebody for this criminal to call you his girlfriend when she clearly wasn't, and it was a complete deepfake. So that is absolutely a factor there. Now, they complain about it, but complaining about it is not a defense. A disagreement of the law is not a defense, and while you can try to challenge things up to the Korean Supreme Court, good luck with that. It is almost impossible to happen to get anything overturned. And it is highly unlikely that Johnny Somali would be the one to overturn the deepfake law in Korea. So not looking good for them on that. In the deepfake, when discussing the deepfake in this legal meeting, Ramsey refers to the female victim as the B word. It's on the slide. I don't want to say it. You guys can read it, but we've got clear video. I'm going to play that on my stream. Once again, you want to see that, go tune over there. And that is not good. Referring to a victim as a slur is never okay. There's also...
Yeah, referring to a victim as a bad word, and Yeah, it doesn't look highly on you.
No settlement with the female victim. They tried to pretend they settled with her, it was all taken care of. It was not. And even if there was a settlement, it is not a defense. Ramsey has revealed that his strategy, his entire legal strategy, was to blame and put pressure on the female victim in order to protect himself. This is highly offensive to the prosecution. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but this just goes into a detail on how settlements are not a manner and mechanism to reduce or eliminate punishment. So even if they did settle with that female victim, it wouldn't happen, right? It would not be something that would be taken care of and considered, especially since he is using it, as is said on the bottom, to falsely reflect on their actions. So it is a aggravating factor. So in fact, the fact that he's trying to force Bong Bong into a settlement is actually an aggravating factor. That means it makes it worse, not better, under Korean law.
Yeah, that makes it worse. Probably you should have said nothing.
So we have the next charge. It's one we've all waited for. If you know what this is, you know what this is. Lotte World. Now look,
we did watch this one, but this goes in a little bit more detail on it.
Lotte World, we have an obstruction of business. We talked about this back in 2024 on this channel. I was actually, I think, the first person to call out this specific charge and say this is clear obstruction of business, because he was not only disruptive, yelling, etc. He stopped a ride. Stopping a ride is per se. That means automatic.
I mean, that literally is disruption. I mean, you don't have to know much to know that. Having a ride stop for you is
obstruction of business. That is clear obstruction of business. The ride was operating and they had to stop it because of Ramsey. Clear obstruction, case closed. That case is likely already merged into the Western District case. Likely it was merged in March. Now, it could be possible that we have another obstruction as well, and there could be a third there, but I'm guessing the best guess, the educated guess, is that second obstruction is actually Lotte World, which is great. We've been waiting for that. We called that on this channel. And one thing I want to give a thanks to all of you viewers out there is many of you called in, you wrote Lotte World, and it appears this worked. So thank you. I deeply appreciate that. Also,
yes, to those that actually did do it, thank you.
I would appreciate if you hit the like button at this point, because we're at a good midpoint right now. And if you like this coverage, hit the like. All right. Next, we have a bombshell. Child sexual harassment. This is no joke. Ramsey.
This is a serious one. It's not. Yeah, it's very serious.
Khalid Ismail has been under investigation for child sexual harassment. He played several vile text-to-speech messages aloud while he was in Lotte World. I'm going to read this statement here. On September 30th, 2024, Johnny created a huge public nuisance at Lotte World, eventually leading to him being kicked out and questioned by security. He's been charged and likely indicted in the Western District for this crime. However, what he did in line for the go-karts brings his crimes into an even darker and more severe territory. While approaching the line with his text-to-speech ready, on full blast, Johnny knowingly said, "For kids, what's this? Oh yeah, let's do it. It's a bunch of little kids, bro." He knowingly, we have this on video. And once again, I'm not going to play on this stream. You can see it on my full stream, not this video on the full stream. He knew there was going to be kids around, and he blasted the text to speech that he knew was going to be nasty. Even if he didn't understand it all in Korean, he knew he was willfully negligent at the very least, which is sufficient under Korean law, going in and hanging out around little kids, repeatedly blasting messages that are vile, too disgusting to even play in this video. And frankly, they were criminal. And this enraged many people, and many people.
They were disgusting.
People called up about this, and we're glad to see this is taken. This is something they were taking seriously. Now, this falls under the Child Welfare Act. The purpose of the Child Welfare Act is to guarantee the welfare and safety of children so they can be born healthy and grow up happy and safely. I mean, this is common decency. This is common humanity. The basic idea is to protect children. Now, what's prohibited is to engage in a lewd act or committing sexual harassment or sexual abuse against a child that will make him feel sexually ashamed. Playing text-to-speech, talking about having sex, and I can't even say it's having sex with underage people around children and talking about sexual acts around children would absolutely and 100% make them feel sexually ashamed. So this would clearly be something he is guilty of. What is the penalty? Imprisonment with labor. Let's catch that out, guys. We got the
cabbage farms, guys.
Cabbage is there. The cabbage picking. Imprisonment with labor for not more than 10 years or a fine of not exceeding 50 million won. Oof, big oof.
Which is very pricey.
Up to 10 years with labor for this if they go forward. So let's give a summary of what we have here in the Eastern District. We've got deepfakes with at least 2 victims, possibly more. That one's been merged into the ongoing Seoul Western Court on March 27th. We have obstruction of business in Lotte World. That was probably merged on March 4th. There's a chance it hasn't been merged yet, but we're the best guess, and we'll find out at the next hearing that we have, whenever that is. We will find out exactly, but that one has likely been merged in. And that's obstruction of business for messing things up at Lotte World. And then child sexual harassment at Lotte World. Now, that is either pending. It's possible they could have dropped it, but it's unlikely it's fully dropped and fully not been considered. It's also possible that it's already merged into the case in the Seoul Western District and is a included crime within the obstruction of business, because when they merged that in, they could have kind of lumped those two together, and we're going to need to hear the prosecutor explain the procedure there, because that may actually be part of the charges that were brought over in addition to the deep fake. So we're going to find out a little bit more of that definitely at the next hearing about the child sexual harassment, but that's something that we know. We have 100% confirmed that the police were investigating, the prosecutors were on child sexual harassment by Ramzi Khalid Ismail. Next, let's talk the truth about the watch. The watch, we've revealed, was given only because of a restraining order against Korean streamer Jungman. Now, this is a moot point right now, as Jungman is in jail. He participated in a political protest. He got, kind of did some property damage, and he's in jail right now. So that is a moot point. But Ramzi loves the watch, and he should have given it back. In fact, he should have given it back long ago, but he has failed to do so. Even his lawyer told him, you need to give it back immediately. His strategy is now to maliciously pursue a new restraining order against Dalgun, right, who we saw recently at a protest. So because Johnny decided to show up at the protest, he wants to get a restraining order against Dalgun. Once again, Dalgun is the UDT member who gave Johnny the punch, in order to get the watch back, because he loves that watch so much. He's just in love with it. Now, if the song, I would kind of doubt the Songpa police want to give him that watch back, because after doing all those prank calls, they probably want to keep it. But we'll see what happens with that watch. We've also got some free speech news. Well, first of all, Ramzi and Hank.
Yeah, he should have given it back instantly. But, it's Johnny. What did you expect?
Hank want to sue every streamer involved in covering his case.
Oh, you want to censor everybody. Good luck.
Either for assault or defamation. In fact, they want a warrant issued against Legal Mindset. That's me. But the funny thing is, and we have this in the leaked audio, is that he failed to provide any actionable evidence to his lawyer. So Hank's lawyer has no proof that at all there's anything actionable or anything they could do. And by the way, procedurally, they could do nothing to me, because most of my coverage has been from the Kingdom of Thailand, which is far outside the purviews of the law of the Republic of South Korea. Ramzi is actively trying to brigade YouTube accounts maliciously. We have proof of that, for example, here in the Somali Discord, where they are trying to brigade Johnny So Somali on X. This is literally Johnny Somali as Somali S. Thompson saying we got to take this ninja down off X. And then Trell also saying we need to mass report this ninja. That is no good. That is actually a violation of the TOS of pretty much every platform you're on. So, I mean, you should be booted.
I mean, I've covered this on the MADEIN one. Someone proposed to try to get the server to raid the Discord server of MADEIN, because we were covering the CEO of said company and group being exposed as a creep, and that, and they threatened to try to raid, and I'm like, hey, that's against TOS. And here's another case of against TOS.
off pretty much every platform you're on for trying to engage in brigading and false mass reporting. And of course, these are from people that consider themselves the champions of free speech. Now, we have an update on the travel ban.
Introducing the Slimulator, a fake game where you can be a Slim Jim.
Ah, interesting.
The only way to be safe?
Yeah, so
after the travel ban, Ramsey was begging to know from his lawyer when he could go home. And we actually got the
it's going to be a while, let's just say.
full text. We leaked pretty much everything from the suspension of departure order. Now, that travel ban was leaked, which says that Ramsey is under investigation for deep fakes, violating the Child Welfare Act, once again, child sexual harassment, and threatening and insulting, defamation, as well as the National Security Act. We actually talked about that way back in the day, all the North Korean propaganda. That was part of the travel ban. So all of these things together form the basis. And until he defends himself from all of this, he can't go home. In fact, Ramsey was told he can only go home when the prosecution is cooperative. Now, understand how crazy that is. It's not the prosecution's job to be cooperative at all. It's Ramsey's job. So what this means is, while Ramsey is being a belligerent a-hole, he is going to stay in there essentially indefinitely, or at least until he gets sentenced and all these cases get processed out. So there's no way he's going home anytime soon, and definitely no way until he serves the time that he is issued at the end of this. We also have a brand new update today on YouTube ban evasion. Now, this video will be available in my full video on YouTube. I'll also put it up on my X account so you guys can see that as well. But Ramsey has admitted to his method of ban evasion on YouTube. He's actually created a new account, and he has said that he is evading this ban by having Han Jong-yu, register as the owner of his channel. Specifically, he went out and said that I made Hank the owner so I can go around the ban. That's not how it works. The person of Ramsey Khalid Ismail is banned from streaming on YouTube. Therefore, that is a form of ban evasion, and it is really a violation of the platform's terms of service, which is absolutely nuts. So that's what we have today for the updates. Big bombshells. Hope you guys like the summary. Trying to keep it in a condensed version for you guys. If you like this, please like the video. Make sure to share it out. And also, if you want to support the Somali conviction team, which did tons of work on these leaks, go to the link below. Please support the Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire, which can go towards helping the people out that did the great work of translating this, because my Korean ain't so good. Until next time, peace.
The Silverado Trail Ball.
Yeah, all right, that's the end. So on this, that's a nice volcanic eruption there to end the stream off with a nice thing. And that's, if you want more updates for Johnny Somali and Vitaly related legal mindsets right there. And I have all the videos reacted to, and his Twitter and YouTube channel in the description. So with that said, and yeah, with that said, I will see y'all next week. Again, those watching the live, plus those who are watching after the live, like the stream, comment your thoughts on all this, and subscribe if you like this, my music. I mean the MADEIN one, plus all the other MADEIN, the music reactions, plus Johnny Somali and other Asian drama related stuff I cover. If you like that, consider subscribing. If not, oh well. Until next week, I will see y'all. Wait. Alright, until next week, I will see y'all then. Okay, wait. Unless something major happens, like MADEIN and something, then I might make a video. But until next, I'll see you next week.
시작. 오케이. 이렇게 볼게. 고마워.
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you
That is a really.
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my!
Oh my! What a play! What a grab!
Another jump here onto high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and ding! He rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more. Gets another one.
down again? That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet! He's killed 4 players now on his own!
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. The bomb coming from John. Oh my God! He does it again!
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot and the headshot and the headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. We're gonna try and circle around. I will call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh. Makes me happy, and Sean Paul switches to the Widowmaker at just the right time.
Oh, the Gravy!
I'm a best tracer in the world.
Oh my word!
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
All right. See you next time.